Wait, no, man, wait, me have an entry, man. Free, free, people for free. Free, free, people for free, for love. People need to be free to be compatible. And we want to talk about that right now, because nobody no love him. And he needs somebody. So we're going to talk about compatibility versus love. Never talk to my people. Let them know.
All
what
right,
we're
we're joined by Sonia Winter, who's a counseling psychologist from the Family Life Ministries. Not for the first time with us here on Smile Jamaica. Great to see you.
Morning.
Before we talk about compatibility, what about this thing about opposites attract? I thought my mom and my dad were totally opposite. Totally, in every way, in education, in color, in every single way.
But they
stayed together for nearly 17,000 years. Does that make any sense about opposites attract?
I don't think it's a rule. I think there are incidents where I happen to meet you, Neville, and my pheromones go crazy and I'm attracted to you. And I don't necessarily, I'm attracted to you and I don't really know your personality yet and so on. But there's something in that meeting that kind of, we click.
And then when you get to know,
and then when you get to know,
no.
then there are some incompatibilities,
okay,
and those come after. But you know, the first and initial moments are enough to keep you going. And people have this. What often keeps relationships going is in search of the early feelings that you had, and that keeps you going, and that sometimes makes the sacrifice
let's
worth
get
it.
back on track. Do we have to be what does compatible mean in the first place?
Okay, compatibility has different meanings depending on which studies you're looking at. Okay, so there are some studies that have different dimensions of compatibility, such as socioeconomic groups, such as education, such as values. Values is a big one. I think that's a fundamental one. Such as personality. You know, one person is an introvert, one's an extrovert, that sort of a thing. So different studies consider different domains of compatibility. And therefore we'll have different results in terms of how important is compatibility in a relationship.
Well, I'm sure you've counseled many couples. What are you seeing with couples? Like, what are the problems with the love versus compatibility that you have witnessed, so we can get some advice on to how to deal with it in search of that earlier feeling, as you said earlier, to keep it alive longer?
You know what? My experience is far less limited than my reading and the information that's available to everyone. But by and large, I would say what I have noticed and what is widely known in terms of research and so on and so forth is that, do you know that it's more what you do after you get together than what you are when you get together. Does that make sense?
You gotta
so
put
it's
in
less what you are when you get together and more what you do after you've gotten together that determines whether you stay together and whether you're fulfilled in this relationship or not.
How it start? Do I figure out whether we're compatible before I figure out that I love her?
In some cases, you know what, I'm going to be a little controversial now. The truth is, at the end of the day, we're all mammals, okay?
Talk truth, counselor.
So, you know, there will quite often, I will meet you and a certain set of features, a certain set of smells, that sort of a thing will just trigger all my love hormones, you know, oxytocin and pheromones and stuff like that. And those trick your brain into saying, okay, this feels good, this feels right, I feel there's a wellness around me, that sort of a thing, you know.
But then other things kick in.
And then other things kick in.
And then we have to look at those signs to say, after what makes us compatible after the oxytocin is released in the body, and I'm all, love you,
I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, Empress, because remember, there are a lot of other relationships that start long after. I know you long time, we're friends long time, and there were no pheromones going on, and then lo and behold, one day I'm like, you know, this is a really special person, I really, you know, so that's almost like a friendship develops first and then something
I
different.
either didn't hear or I didn't understand what you said. But I see her, physically she's gorgeous, so I know I like her off already.
Right.
Do I then back off and say, well, let me find out about her to see if we are compatible? Or do I just come in and say, boy, Empress, I want to be with you, I like you, and then I try to figure out, or is that too late?
It depends on your objectives, Neville. If you're looking for a long-term relationship, of course it makes sense to step back, assess, get to know her.
Right.
Okay, because that will tell you, you know, whether this is going to be a rough ride in terms of how your relationship would progress, or whether it's going to be more a smoother transition into a long-term relationship.
But as you
know?
said, and Empress said, things change because I want to impress her. I'm at my best. I open the door for her. We go on a restaurant every night. And then I find out, say, well, all right, it's my girl now. I don't open the door for her. I don't go to the restaurant again.
Right.
No problems that?
Remember how we started when we were offset? The thing we take for granted most often is each other. And that's often what undermines most relationships, right? That people inadvertently start to take each other for granted.
So for want of a better word, I get her now. So
you get the prize. In fact, you know what I was reading recently, that marriage, when people decide to get married, it's almost like the moment of marriage. When I've got the prize, I've got you committing to me in public, that's when all my effort drops quite often. You know, and from that day is when the routine of marriage kicks in and the friendships can start to undermine.
And you take your partner for granted.
Oh,
that
100%.
You ignore
I got him
them.
where I want him. I've got him where I want him.
Right.
So
Well, I have mine where I want him, but me I go home go do some work.
we have some signs here that you're compatible.
Yes, let's go through
You
those.
share the same core values.
Oh, I think that's the most important one. I think a lot can be worked out after that.
And when we say values, let's elaborate on that. We're talking about
what's important to me, how important is family to me,
Right.
you know, how important is, am I black and white in terms of the rule of law,
Right.
what is my faith, you know, how important is my faith and my spirituality to me, things like
Your
that.
partner finds your quirks endearing.
No, those are the cases where opposites attract. Right. So things that you do are just so unusual to me and quirky. I'm intrigued by it.
I love it.
I mean, but you know what? Too often, I love your quirks when I meet you and we're dating, and there's this excitement. When we get together, that's what drives me crazy.
It's annoying.
And then you have to adjust again.
Yeah, you're attracted to each other, which is kind of obvious. You come out on the other side of an argument in one piece.
I think that takes effort.
Yes.
Okay? That takes, what I do as a counselor most often is I try to teach couples how to have healthy conflict, how to manage conflict well. And so that takes effort.
Can I put my own advice in?
Please.
Try not go bed angry.
Yeah.
Try not go bed angry with your partner.
Yeah, your partner is the first person you want to share good and bad news with.
And that often is in the early stages of the relationship. And then when we start to take each other for granted, our girlfriend hears first.
Yeah.
And then
the bridge in here first.
Yeah, exactly.
You said this up front. You have similar upbringings. You said that your interests overlap and you have fun together.
That happens, but you know, I mean, I don't think a rule applies to every single person. Okay, because sometimes it happens to be that I don't know a thing about what you're interested in, and that's what brings us together. You're having to explain it to me, and you know what I mean? We don't share it, but you're introducing me to it. That's sometimes an intriguing part of our relationship.
You both take responsibility and apologize. I must apologize even if I don't think I'm wrong.
I must somehow show that how you feel matters to me.
But if I don't think I'm wrong, I must still just say, isn't that almost...
If you hurt me.
Yeah, if you hurt me,
then
and I don't, if I inadvertently hurt you, Neville. Okay?
Yeah, but if I'm being
wrong,
serious, if I don't think I'm wrong, am I not being condescending and say, all right, Empress, I'm sorry. I mean, but me know me never wrong, but I'm sorry.
You might be, but if you hurt you, Empress, and you're wrong, I think what is more important is that you show her that you regret that she's hurt.
Say you're sorry.
But what if never
say you're sorry.
I don't sorry because I never do anything wrong.
Just,
all right, I'm
you
sorry.
See?
I'm sorry.
See, even saying it like that.
How about Empress?
I'm sorry.
Empress, you know what happened this morning must have really upset you.
Yeah.
And can we talk about that? That's not an apology, but it shows that you matter.
But
he's
she
a little
knows she matters.
cantankerous when he's ready.
She knows that she matters.
And sometimes, oftentimes it takes stating
You see, he said something, and I want to bring this in. She knows. I don't know if it's a male
I'm here,
thing,
aren't
but
I? You know that saying? I'm here, aren't I? If I wasn't here, I wouldn't.
You know you're important.
Because I'm
but
here.
you not tell me. Me want you tell me.
I tell you, but I never do nothing wrong, so I don't know why I have to apologize. I did not do anything wrong.
Listen, counselor, I'm speaking on behalf of my girlfriends, and I want you to talk to the men out there, especially in relationships, because I know a lot of us sit there and the men do this. They say, but you know I love you. I'm here, aren't I? Is that what we need, or do we need a little bit more from what you're seeing?
Not only do the women need it more, so do the men.
Thank you very much.
It's very important. One of the foundational things to keep a relationship alive is to show appreciation.
That's true.
Thank you very much. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
And it's compatibility
Thanks so
in friendships too. This is for everything, really.
Yeah.
It's true.
Relationships,
It's true.
friendships,
All right.
family. Thank
Sonia
you.
Winter, counseling psychologist, Family Life. Where's Family Life Ministries?
It's on Cecilia Avenue, 1 Cecilia Avenue.
Beautiful.
Please come see us.
All right. So
He
we've
needs
covered
to.
compatibility. But us men have to set the record straight. It's really a he said, she said, or he said, she listen.
And
she don't ever listen.
I said you should go and
She
see the
don't-
psychologist at Family Life. Nothing wrong with seeking counseling. It
Hold on
helps
for
to
a break.
build you. It's like
If
mentorship,
you're
support.
together when we come back, is the counselor short way out.